reaction to the lady with the 55-inch TV issue that kind of went viral. And this is Phillip Scott. I want to react to him because I feel like a lot of older men, mature men, really don't really understand the real issues we have in America. They don't really understand the problems with men and women either.
One sister that went to Best Buy and bought a 55-inch TV, and she was kind of struggling, with this 55-inch. But let's go ahead and listen to her story and why she's kind of upset.
Let me just say this, and I don't care if I sound angry, the angry black woman, whatever. But I was struggling to bring my TV, fit it into my car. It was in a big box. It's a 55-inch. It could barely fit into this car. At first, this girl was helping me that worked at Best Buy where I got it from, but we couldn't get it in, and then she kind of left, and I said, I'm going to try and figure it out on my own. I'm sitting out here struggling to get this in my car. Men are walking back and forth. No one is trying to help me. It took...
See, here's the problem with these women. Women think we should have equality between us, but then we're supposed to still cater to them. I think every man needs to stop helping women. Women need to value men again. That's the only way things are going to get better. We need to stop helping women more.
An older man to come and see me struggling. He came out, he had a knife. He came out and helped me take the...
Which actually makes sense. That older man probably was raised by a man. See, the problem is these women raised all the men, and now they're complaining about them. But remember, they were proud and independent. But now you're complaining about the men that you raised. It makes no sense.
TV out of the box and put it in my back seat, and then he took the box, put it in his truck, and was going to go dump it elsewhere because there's no dumpster nearby. They don't make real men anymore. I'm sorry, I'm not all...
And once again, this is why I say a lot of men don't really understand women. The more we continue to help them, I don't care how old you is, the more we continue to date older women, the more problems we're going to have. We're going to continue to have these problems long as we keep dealing with these women. Especially that when they get older, we keep dealing with older women. That's why women don't prioritize marriage. We need to stop dating older women. All men. Or go overseas if you can't get a young American woman. That's how I feel. If she's over
men, because there are good
30,
men out there,
she's
it's
too
such
old.
A rare thing. It took an older man to do that.
Yeah, few things. That older man comes from a different generation than yours, young lady. Second of all, dudes today just not going to be just jumping in helping you. They're cut from a different cloth. Number three, with men opening doors or men just giving compliments and being nice, they have been called weird and what are you doing and been insulted, literally. And been called predators and all kind of things, and men try to offer things. So I noticed you didn't say you asked a man for help. Now, if you would have been nice and say, hey, you know any way you can help me with this?
And that's true. A lot of women refuse for men help also. It's almost like they're pushing us away. They're taking our children. Why are we trying to work with them anyway? See, men like this can be dangerous too. Because he's trying to sympathize with her. Come on, let's see what else.
I promise you a brother would have helped you if you would have asked him nicely to do so. But just trying to struggle on your own and a man watching you, today they really not going to jump on it, especially these millennials and Gen Z young men. I would say maybe a brother from my generation, Gen X, probably will a little bit faster than these younger brothers. But y'all on something a little different, and even brothers in my generation have kind of pulled back on y'all too because of that Me Too movement, and we don't want to be accused of being a predator or whatever. Now, I don't know where you at, but I would say in the South, the men would have helped you out a lot faster in the South. I don't know where you at because that's just our Southern culture. We're more helpful down here in the South. We're more hospitable, in the South. So I don't know exactly where you was at. Now, I know just for traveling, going up north, going East Coast.
See, the thing is different. Men are different now. Back in the old times, I mean, a little farther back, remember, everybody was married. See, men never going to have respect for women when they don't really interact with women. I'm saying they don't have a woman at home. Back in older times, men had wives, women had husbands. They understood the opposite sex way better than they do now. Remember, it's about 90% of this country that's single. I mean, y'all interact with each other, y'all having sex with each other, but y'all not married with each other. Y'all don't truly live together. I'm talking about for decades together. That's when men had more respect for women. And once you have that wife at home, you're going to treat all women like a wife, no matter where you're at. That's the real issue. Nobody's married. Let's see what else you got.
West Coast, y'all not the same like we are down here. I know that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying people couldn't be nice up there, but y'all just not going to be jumping to help somebody unless you ask. I would say that much. So I didn't hear us say ask, but let's continue.
I have to have been like 70, 80 years old, and it took him.
Okay, you say he was 70, 80 years old, so he was good up there.
Not all these young fit guys. It took him.
Now, you guys got to understand, she was okay with a senior citizen using a senior citizen to do her work. I just don't understand this generation. I wouldn't even allow something like that to happen. These women right here tells you they're just users. I mean, I would feel bad to ask a person that old to do anything for me. I don't care whether I'm a female or a male. That is totally wrong.
We got to go back to the drawing board, because it's just crazy how much as a woman, like, you don't see men holding doors anymore. They don't help anymore. They rush and sit down on trains and buses before women and pregnant women and elderly are sitting down. It's just a hot mess out here. But I think that man.
So women want equality, but then they also want their rights. What is the point?
He is going to be extremely blessed. Even when I tried to offer him some cash, he didn't want to take it. But yeah, that was just an insane experience.
Well, that's the same thing the men have been saying as well, that they don't make women like they used to either. You know, when we look back on our grandmothers and our...
But here's the trick, buddy. You're not going to fix the men until you fix the women. Just think about it. If 80% of all children are being raised by single mothers, how do you think that's going to work? First, the women have to be fixed. The women have to start getting married to respect men. That's the real problem. Men have to be in the home in order to respect the women, to learn to respect a woman, and women will learn to respect a man. That's the only way that's going to work. You're not going to work by pointing fingers and telling men what they need to do when they were never raised to do that. Women are raising the children, and they're not getting married. That is the problem. And they're raising all the children, and if you really start to think about it, we don't have any respect for each other because we are not married. 80%. And then you look at the men, 8% of all children are 8% of fathers are raising children by themselves. Even though men get way better results, it's still better with mom and dad. But that's the key. Marriage. This is nothing else. You can point fingers all day. Men are going to continue to not respect women because women raising them. That's how they raising them. They learn respect of a man to a woman from a man. Let's see what else.
Great grandmothers, our aunties, and different ones from maybe even that same generation that you're talking about. That's 70 years old, 80 years old. Men are saying exactly the same. You're right. The need to go way back to the drawing board. I'm with you 100%. I believe men need.
So we need to start with women. Women need to start getting married. That means fathers, the fathers that we do have that's in the homes, need to be involved, which is about, 12% of fathers are home with their children? Let's see.
to go back to the old school ways. I believe women need to go back to the old school ways as well. I am not for this new age anything because it doesn't work. I've seen it. It does not work.
I'm going to give him that much. He understands that this system don't work at all. That's the point. We need to start telling everybody our system don't work. It's really the way women think, the way women choose men. Because just think about it. If 80% of all mothers are raising a child by themselves, that means women choices are poor choices. And I know a lot of women don't want men to go back to choosing their husband and all that, but I really believe women need help choosing. And this is why we need to be involved when they're young. We just let our kids do anything. And that's the problem right there. Women are losing their virginity before they're married. Before they're out of high school.
I had your years to try it, and what happens? Your marriage rate's in the toilet. Single mothers everywhere.
See, we got to stop judging relationships in America through marriages. We need to start judging true relationships by looking at single motherhood and single fatherhood. So like I just said, you have about 80% of all relationships in America. 80% of all mothers in America are single mothers. Then 8% of all fathers are single fathers. That leaves about 12%. That's our true divorce rate in this country. It don't matter whether it's a legit relationship. This lets you know most relationships are a failure. It don't matter. You can look at divorce all day. None of that tells you anything because a lot of these women are leaving their husbands when they're in their 60s. That's the worst thing a woman can do to a man. So, yeah, that 50% divorce rate means nothing. You could just say we have about an 88% relationship failure. If you involve a person, you get with a person and children are involved, it goes up to 88%. So that's how you gotta look at it. Relationships involving children are going to fail. In most relationships, men want children. So you gotta look at it like that. There's really no point in dealing with a person here as a man. It's more dangerous to a man because you go and raise that child and you're going to have that child with that woman and never be able to raise it. That's the key right there. Until we start understanding those numbers, every relationship you get into in this country is going to fail. Unless you think you're different. That's how men go in relationships too. They think they're different, but it fails every time.
Right? Women today have just doing whatever they want to do. They mark themselves up full of tattoos. And I was noticing something.
That's another thing. When women are young, you getting tattoos. Like, we're not even thinking like wives. Our daughters are not thinking like wives. You ruin yourself before you even get a chance. And it's the father's fault if he is in the home, because most women choose poorly. But that's a problem too. She will never be a wife looking like that. You're going to attract the crooks and the thieves and gangsters.
Looking at Sexy Red, them types, right? But I looked at Lotto the other day. I think they were showing when she was, whatever. And I noticed Lotto isn't full of tattoos. I'm not saying she don't have a tattoo here and there, but she's not full of tattoos. Like, a lot of these women today are full of tattoos.
Still don't look like a wife to me.
And that's something that the women back in the past did not do, is get full of tattoos. Really, women that got a bunch of tattoos, those were women who was on the track. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I mean when I say they on the track. You women that's like respectful and all that didn't cover themselves full of tattoos. And the thing is about that, let's say, okay, well, I want to change my life. Get rid of the tattoos. That in itself would now
get rid of. I don't think he understands. That's not something you just do.
course, you got some men out here who like that hood look. Because to me, it makes you look hood. And that's fine for those men. But those men that say they really want a wife and want certain things, they don't want their wives full of tattoos all over the place. I mean, come on. I mean, no. Because grandma didn't have all that mess. And grandpa didn't have all that mess either. But the old school worked. The old school ways worked. The way they did family, that worked. And it was instilled in the men to help the women. Because the women, it was instilled in them to be feminine and allow a man to help you. It was none of this, I'm a boss chick, I can do it by myself, I don't need a man. No. Those women.
See, because I don't think he really realized. Think about it. Feminism and all that proud can't work if she got a man at home. It doesn't work. It's like a married man saying women are useless, but you're going to sleep with a man. I mean, you're going home to a wife. It doesn't work like that. So in order for feminism to thrive, women have to say they don't have no man, they don't need no man, and they just using men, which causes them to be single mothers, which defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah, oh, I need a husband. I definitely need my husband. I need him to be a father of these kids. I am not trying to be paying these bills by myself. I'm not trying to raise these kids by myself. I don't want to be by myself. See, those women had a need for their husbands. And in that generation, they taught that. And that generation taught the men to take care of a family, protect your family, help women in need.
And that's true. But women these days are fighting for power, which, as you see, women now are making the world worse because we allow women to take control, because we allow women to have a big influence on the world. That's why everybody's soft. That's why we're talking about feelings and all that. That's the way women think. Men are straightforward. We don't talk about feelings. We talk about facts.
They are feminine and they are the weaker sex. I know today to say, oh, they the weaker sex. How dare you say, listen, it's true. You don't have the strength of a man, period. So as women is viewed as...
It's more to it than strength. There are certain things men can deal with. We're not emotional normally. This version of men are. But normally men can take a lot. Mentally. More than women. Women don't like you talking bad to them. Women don't even want you to be honest with them. That's why we need men in the home. That man that's going to be honest with you, tell you you're not good enough, you need to do better. That's what we need.
So weaker sex, the women is viewed as they need to be protected and provided for. Then men step in and do that. But when you traded in your femininity for masculinity and trying to walk as a man, men is not going to help other men. Not like that. Unless a man say, hey, bro, you mind helping me? Then, a man can struggle all day.
And once again, I say, men, stop helping women and things may get better. But if you continue to help them, it's not going to get better at all. They're going to continue to try to use men. And they're going to continue to raise our children by themselves, making our children worse.